Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Disaster Support webinar, and my name is Claire Shook. I am the event coordinator with the West Business Development Center. This webinar is brought to you by the West Business Development Center. We are a nonprofit funded by the Small Business Administration, the SBA, a federal organization, and we host two centers. We host the Women's Business Center and we host the Small Business Development Center for Mendocino and Lake County. West is funded through federal, California state, and local government grants. In exchange for these grants, we provide free confidential business services. Our goal is to offer our services to small business owners and entrepreneurs during every stage of their business development. So whether you're just starting out with an idea or a hobby, you're in your first, your 10th, your 20th year of business, we want to be a resource you can call upon when you have any questions or needs with your business and its development. We offer our services through one-on-one counseling. There are no limits to counseling sessions. It's a no-cost service that we provide. We also offer low-cost workshops and free webinars like the one you're at today, as well as loan packets and loan advising if you're getting ready to apply for a small business loan or you have questions about a small business loan you've already taken out. We have advisors who can help you with that process. And that's basically how our funding is used. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a client, please feel free to visit our website, which you'll see down below, or also you can call us on our office line and we can help get that process started and answer any questions you might have. At the end of this webinar, there will be a poll, so ask that you stay to the very end to help answer those poll questions. But let's go ahead and jump right in. So I'm going to pass things off to our fabulously talented, amazing instructor today, Rachel Clark.
Thank you, Clara. I appreciate that. That was quite the introduction. For those of you that have never met me, my name is Rachel Clark. I live out here on the Mendocino coast. I own a company called Synergy Business Coaching. We coach small businesses all over the world. I started working with our local SBA office, the West Center, about 4 years ago now to help them develop their training programs and their webinar series and their live events, just like you're experiencing today. And back in 2017, when we saw the Tubbs fire hit Santa Rosa and Sonoma County, and then every preceding year since, realizing that natural disasters and specifically fires are going to become a very constant thing here in Mendocino County, me and the executive director said, what can we do? What can we do to help our localized community prepare, plan, and be much more well-armed for these types of events? And so, well, nonprofits do what they do best. They went out and got a grant, and we created this workshop. So Clara emailed you some materials in regards to the workbook that we call the important stuff. You may follow along with that as you like. I'm going to be presenting how to build out and utilize this workbook to prepare your businesses for natural disaster. But there's always follow-up work, so please don't feel like that you're going, excuse me, you're going to fill out this workbook in the time that we have today. What we're going to do today is this. We are going to first talk about protecting yourself, your business protection strategy, recovery, and what's next. If you've never attended one of my workshops before, you will slowly see that I really encourage engagement. Talk things out, ask questions, confirm things. That's going to help you get more out of this session. We're keeping mics and video off just to limit all the craziness that's going on this end. But the chat box is a really great way to communicate with me and anybody else in the room. If you do chat, push all panelists and attendees, okay? Okay, let's get started. So the first place we need to look before you can prepare your business for natural disaster is yourselves. If you're not prepared, you can't help your business, you can't help your communities, you can't help your county at large. So who out there, I'm curious, who out there has go bags, evacuation plans, lists, tools? You guys prepared your households and your family for natural disaster? Got a quiet group today. I've been delivering these for the last few years now. I've delivered dozens and dozens and dozens of them all over the country. And I'm finding it's still about a 50-50 split. Some people have something, some people don't. Now, I can never tell you exactly how to personally prepare your household. I don't know it. I don't know who lives in it. I don't know what else lives on your property. You can see my cheeky picture here and list that I put here. But one thing I do advise people to really consider is, as you're planning, to plan in stages. Okay. I've got a comment here. People starting to prepare, especially after what they saw this year. We had a very early fire season here in Mendocino County for those people here on the coast listening in. It hit us pretty quick. It hit the fire systems pretty quick. What I don't want to have happen is you not be prepared for the next one. Now, there's a lot of different ways to plan. There's a lot of different ways to prepare. I do recommend nowadays that you prepare in stages. So the fire service organizations, CAL FIRE, who primarily work on these large wildfires, they've gotten much better with their systems. They're giving evacuation and evacuation warnings. Evacuations aren't mandatory. They're highly recommended. It helps our first responders do what they need to do best and not worry about you, but you can do what you want in that. But plan in stages. You're going to get notifications 24 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours, 1 hour. And we always want to be prepared if the fire's coming over the ridge, or the earthquake hit, or the flood water went over the break. I've delivered them in all different types of areas with different types of natural disasters. Mendocino County, we're fire, right? You know, everything can hit at one point. So you want to think of this in these chunks. What would you take if you had 24 hours, and what would you do on your property? 12 hours, 8 hours, 1 hour, you get my point. When you start getting more down to 1 hour, you really want to be taking things that are irreplaceable. Irreplaceable items. That could be certain levels of electronics that have irreplaceable items on them. Okay. Art, kids stuff. What's irreplaceable? Always hold that in the back of your head. Okay. You can go buy clothes and toothbrushes, blankets and pillows. You could buy pots and pans. What's irreplaceable? This needs to happen first, above and beyond anything. The workbook that we've created for this session is very geared for business owners, preparing their businesses. But as you thumb through it today, I really invite you to think about it also in terms of your own household preparation. There should be two separate systems, without a doubt. They're two separate assets, two separate entities, even if they're on the same property. But the similarities of how you're planning are very consistent and similar. Myself, personally, people are always curious about my systems after doing this for as long as I have. I will say what we've created here is, again, different systems and what we would take and plan and prepare and do. The 24-hour evacuation notices, 12 hours, 8 hours, 1 hour, 5 minutes. One huge consistent part of the system, though, is we went out and bought red tubs. We have a red tub for every room of the house. Each one of those tubs has a list, what we would pack and take. It's broken up a little bit differently based on different time slots, but that's how critically organized you would be in an event like this, because it's all about the recovery. Fire happens in an instant. Your home's going to burn down or not. It floods out. The earthquake causes it to collapse. So it's all about recovery. How are you going to recover? Emotionally, physically, tangibly, fiscally. So, public safety power shutoffs. I smirk a little bit because we haven't had one here on the coast yet. And I'm not smirking in any sort of cynical way. We just haven't had one. We had a few last year. It's been very interesting. It's another level of preparation that I invite you to create a system for. Okay. As individuals and for your households, as well as for your business. Okay. I know I've got some people on the line that are looking at this session more personally and using it that way. And I've got business owners on the line as well. Have any business owners out there on the line gone through a PSPS with their businesses? Or people out there that have PSPS systems? Many of you I know have gone through many and many and many of them. Some of you have learned and gotten a little prepared for them. Some of you still become victim to them. And there's no reason to be victim to this. I don't think anybody's happy about it, including PG&E in some ways. But it's become their system. And if we're reliant on PG&E, you need to have a PSPS system. What's your personal plan? What's your business plan? And you really want to think, is it worth it when planning for your business? Some people can be very profitable staying open, right? Be providing a service or a product that people really need during that time. I was talking to a deli owner a few years ago, delivering this over in Ukiah. And he said he realized he had such an opportunity to feed people during this time. And he was behind the curve on it. But by the time he had gotten what he needed to get up and going, he said the electricity turned on in like 4 hours. It was terrible. But it was a really sweet story, because food is a very primary need. And especially in something like this for people who are not prepared. Don't come to this session. So let's talk about business protection strategy. As I said, this important stuff workbook is designed to be most, if not all, your business go bag. Just as hopefully by now you'll have sitting by the door that emergency bag if you have to run for the hills or from the fire and have 5 minutes. This workbook is designed to build out the necessary information you need to recover from a natural disaster. We can't live in such anxiety of when they're going to hit. We don't know. We can predict a little bit. We have a lot of scientific equipment now for fires and earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes. We have better information than we've ever had before. We're so lucky. In some ways, we shouldn't be falling victim to them as much as we are. We can't control a house burning down. I've lost some. I lost part of a home in the Tubbs fire. So I get it. But if you can recover, you can survive. And that's how we have to fight back. That's how we have to protect ourselves, our communities, our counties to keep going on. So it's all about the recovery. 40% of small businesses don't reopen after a natural disaster. That's a lot. And this, I will say, was taken 18 months ago. I will say I need to update it. I'm sure, unfortunately, it's higher. So in preparing to recover from natural disaster, personally or professionally, you really need to look at what your small and large assets are. Because it's the assets that we're losing. We're losing memories. Those can't be replaced. That's why I always say, take irreplaceable things. Take the irreplaceable. You can sit in the dirty t-shirt for a few days until someone gives you one. So it's all about small and large assets, whether it's the land or the homes, the cars, the tractors, the refrigerators, the computers, the furniture, the equipment, the inventory, the tools. Okay, it's the assets that we've got to understand and then protect in the right way. And that's what I want to teach you today. So the first thing is, what's an asset? Well, an asset's of anything of value. It's a resource that could be turned into cash. Got a lot of nice pictures here and images. Some businesses have intangible assets, such as intellectual property, because that's got a value. Authors or books, that kind of stuff, musicians. I'm going to primarily focus on what most of us are probably owning and looking at, and that's these hard assets. Now, for business owners out there, you want to be thinking of business assets and personal assets, especially for y'all out there who are doing business on your same property. And for Mendocino County, there's a lot of us doing that. Having separation of business and personal is very important for your insurance policies. I have seen too many people lose because they didn't have the right thing covered, or they thought one covered the other, or they just were so casual about it. They got some insurance, they've never really looked at it, they just hope, fingers crossed, it pays for something. Insurance has changed dramatically over the last 3 years. Nonetheless 5 years, nonetheless 10 years. And it's continuing to change. So you need to understand and take accountability for what you have and how it needs to be covered. So that's separation. So then as you start looking at what you have and understanding the things of value around you, that ideally you'd like replaced if you were to lose everything, and why you pay insurance, you need to start understanding more what it's valued at. This is a very critical step in doing the work you need to do in the relationship you have with your insurance agent. Most clients put that burden upon their insurance agent. The agent asks them what they own, what they want covered, is there anything big, the add-on policy, is it going to be covered in the umbrella policy for business owners? And you throw them a casual email with a list of stuff that you have. Many, many times your agents are putting that through their system and they're being told a value that may or may not be really what that asset is worth. That could be because of historical value. That could be because of add-ons you've done. That could be because of the exceptional maintenance you've kept up on. I could go on and on with this, but you need to take some ownership, especially for your large assets, on what you think they're worth and what you know they're worth. So in your workbooks, you have a worksheet here for asset valuation equation. This is something all accountants use for depreciation. This is something that insurance agents use, okay, to baseline prices. I think most agents want to work for us. I know there's some out there that are questionable, let's say it that way. Most agents, and we'll talk about this in a moment, really do want to work for you. But they're also doing the work the easiest, simplest way possible. And if you're not engaged in that relationship, they may not value your assets correctly. So you do want to understand what they're worth. Okay. I don't want to make you feel like you have to turn into an accountant or a financial advisor. This is actually a really easy equation. Practice it a few times. It's fun. It's really fun, actually, to really start being able to have some understanding about how assets are valued. Large assets, how they're depreciated, how that goes into baselining a price. In your workbooks, I invite you to document some of these large assets, using this workbook as a way to have the information you need. So if you lost it all tomorrow, you can engage in rebuilding and recovering in an expedient way. So ensuring that you have an understanding of what you own to to make sure that it's covered correctly under a homeowner's policy or a business policy, that the coverage is correct, right? Because you're engaging with the valuation of it and confirming that, and not just assuming that your agent's going to do always the best for you when they just can't sometimes because they don't know. You have to protect these assets. Now, I'm a little OCD, so I like to take care of things as much as I can because that just allows them to have a better life and usefulness for me. But you also want to be taking care of them for the coverage that your insurance companies are giving you for them. They want you to be taking care of these assets. They want you to be maintaining them. They want you to be storing them correctly, depreciating them right. Okay. They don't want to see assets that they think that they're valued at a certain price and they're dilapidated. Insurance agents are doing site visits more than ever, especially on business owners. And they're looking and they're seeing things. They don't have a lot of money anymore. They probably still have enough, let's be honest. But their margins are shrinking. And so they're trying to find new business models to survive. So they're definitely wanting to ensure that you're taking care of assets that you're saying are worth a certain price, and that their machine is even saying is worth a certain price. What assets should have paperwork? So to give you peace of mind that if you are sitting across from your agent, especially for those that have BOP policies or umbrella policies for their business, the more paperwork that you have that justifies your ownership of certain assets, the easier process it's going to be getting your money, plain and simple. And so, most business policies are blanket policies. They're going to ask you for your large assets. They're going to give you a certain amount of money based on the size of your business and what you say it's worth and all of that. But they don't always just hand out that money just because. You have to start showing what you owned, what you have, what was yours. The easier you can do that, the easier the process goes and the more you get. Okay, but there's some proof in the pudding that they want. And it makes it also a lot easier. So especially for your large assets or semi-large assets, have paperwork for anything, bills of sale, receipts, okay? Anything, even if it's a used Craigslist buy, have a bill of sale drafted up. Everybody sign it, date it. Now, what if you don't have paperwork or you have so many small assets, even for example, writing everything down might make your head explode. Taking a video that's time and date stamped of your entire building, store, space, garage, warehouse, of everything. Open the drawers. We all have cameras or phones now with these cameras on them. And refresh it every year. You don't need to go overboard. I had a woman doing it every single month. I said, that's a little much. You don't need to go that crazy. Once a year. And that's a very easy way for them to connect. That asset's yours through that image on that date, and they work really well with you. This is something you'll want to check in with your insurance agent and see, what is the backup methods I should do? Is that worth my time? But I've had policy over person tell me they've got their whole business replaced, or their whole home replaced because they actually just took video and picture and pieced their home together, and this is what I owned. So and they could start evaluating it. Keep things current. Okay, so keep that video very current. We get rid of things, we buy things, we sell things. At any moment, your agent gets any feeling of fraud, even in a small way, you've broken your relationship and it's going to become a very uncomfortable situation moving forward. And then there's no trust. And that can even happen even if you're just forgetting things back and forth. I don't know, did we sell that? Did we have it? They don't got a lot of money anymore in those buckets. Anything that gives them a weird feeling. And you don't want to break the relationship of trust with your agent who's going to be handling your situation. You guys are an especially quiet group today. So I hope you're getting what you need. But if you have questions that are coming up, thoughts, or any strategies that you use, please share. The more I hear, the more I learn. And then the more I can help other people as well. So we know our assets. We're understanding what they're worth. We're starting to take care of them a little bit better. We've even taken some pictures and some video. Now we need to understand how to keep certain things safe, especially your documents, your videos, your pictures, the deeds, the titles, the receipts. There's a certain level of information that you have that is vital to recovery. My father-in-law went running from the Tubbs fire in 2017 as the fire came up into the yard and was about 200 feet from the house. And him and his wife went running. Jumped in a car, tires melted to the road. They didn't take anything but the dogs. So he didn't have anything. He was almost a nameless, faceless person. He didn't even have any hair on his face because it all burnt off as they drove out of the fire. So, important things that you need, such as driver's license, social security cards, passports, your insurance policy, the receipts, you can see how I'm building this pyramid here, are vital. Because when you don't even have a driver's license to show somebody or a passport, any identifying information, it was a very interesting thing to watch with my father-in-law and how he had to rebuild, what he had to do. So we want to protect certain things so that if they are for running and we can grab the dog and the car keys and maybe that other thing. Or that we've got it stored somewhere else. So storage is critical here. We want to store in the right place so we don't leave ourselves vulnerable, but we actually put them in the right place. So we have physical storage. I put the filing cabinet up there as a little bit of a joke. Filing cabinets are organization systems. They are not storage systems for vital documents, even if they have a lock on it. Okay? All you're doing is protecting it from people. Somebody could still lift it up and steal the whole dang thing if they really wanted to. Let's be honest, right? These are organization systems. And not even the best anymore. I will not allow one in my office. Then we have safes. Okay, I've put a picture of a portable safe up here, a small safe up here. Obviously, many of us have big safes as well. Safes are good. Safes are not fireproof, though. Yeah, you heard me. Safes aren't fireproof. I know. I bought a fireproof safe, too. I have one. But if you really read the instructions, you really read the warranties and the information, they only are fireproof for so long. So the thing about fireproof safes is eventually they burn, because generally speaking, even a good old-fashioned house fire is going to burn so long that that thing's going to burn. At the very least, if there's paper inside of it, that's going to burn up. Metal usually melts, starts melting. If not, the whole safe just melted into the ground. I like portable hand safes for emergency. We have one. Because if I was having we have evacuation systems in my household where I'd go, where we can go, and I'm carrying things out of my big safe. I've obviously put it in there for a reason, to be safe. My comfortability is to at least have a hand safe, portable safe in the car for that stuff, so it's not sitting loose in my car as I drive to my next destination. Then we have safety deposit boxes. These were going out of style for a while, and they're like coming back with a vengeance. Safety deposit boxes are great. You rent them for your bank. Your bank is protecting them. Okay? Nobody knows what's inside them. There's big arrangements and agreements everybody signs. Nobody knows what is inside of them. Okay? They're usually in a vault. And that's a very safe place to put things. I like safety deposit boxes because they can be off-site. Okay? Look at what happened to the town of Paradise, and almost happened again. It burnt down. The whole town burnt down. So I like to actually rent a safety deposit box where my mother lives in Central California. Dispersing my needs if I was to lose everything. I heard people lose not only their homes, their businesses, their safety deposit boxes, their everything. So we got to be diversified and dispersed. Okay? Not so much that we lose track of where everything is. And that's why in the workbook, I've put an organization system in here for you. So that literally you remind yourself where you've put certain things. This came from a very personal, professional place. And also when you see people go through what I saw, like my father-in-law go through, the PTSD that sets in so quickly removes any memory of anything for quite some time. Those first 48 hours, a week, a month. So don't make things harder on yourself than they need to be. Take a list. Write it down, put it in your business go bag, and you'll always have it. Where I'd like to go to and where I'd like to encourage everybody to go to is to electronic storage. Electronic storage is portable, it is safe, it's easy, it's small. I guess that's portable. And it can have a lot. It's easy to update. External hard drives, cloud, thumb drives. I also look at electronic storage the same way I look at physical storage. I disperse in the right way. I still will not put my passport, my driver's license, or my social security card on cloud. That's me. That's my personal preference. But I will put other things up there, and other things in a hard drive, and other things in a thumb drive. This makes it very easy to access things, not carrying around bulks of paperwork. I have clients sharing stories with me where they've got this workbook, a hard drive, and a thumb drive. And they're like, if I've got to bail, that's all I got to take. And they're like, and I know exactly where it fits in my backpack. They're like, it's light, it's portable. They're like, I could recover if I have this, this, and this. I'm not trying to diminish the impact of what it's like to go through a situation like this. I never would. Gone through it. And I haven't gone through it in the extent other people have, but I've got family that has. But if we're prepared, we can recover. So in as much preparation as I'm telling you, things are replaceable. You actually can go get a new passport and a social security card and a driver's license. That's what FEMA usually does in their trailers and tents. But it sure does take a long time. And nowadays, you do not want to be last in line when a community burns down trying to get your payout. You want to be first in line. So we have been preparing to now really understand how you need to protect yourselves through your insurance policies. What insurance do I need? 75% of businesses in the United States are underinsured by 40% or more. So that means they were not able to start 40% of their business. They lost 40% of profits. They've lost 40% of revenues. They may have lost 40% of their employees. We need to be insured right. I'm not a believer in overinsured. I'm not a believer in being underinsured. I'm a big believer in being insured for your plan. Okay? So hopefully we all understand what insurance is. It's a policy. It's set up there to protect us, replace things. But we've got to understand what it is. Otherwise, you're going to sit across from your agent or on the phone or in a Zoom and have the surprise of your life. I think the natural disaster is enough surprise for the life, right? I'd rather go into after being prepared. So I really like chapter 4 of this book because it really breaks down business insurance. And I've found with my clients over there, it's a very convoluted process for them. Business, policies are umbrella policies unless you've done some add-ons. There's a lot more add-ons people are doing these days. Payroll insurance, is a big one. But you need to understand how you're covered. It's not your insurance agent's job to tell you how much insurance you need. Okay? It's your job as a business owner to understand how you would want to recover what you need, what assets you need, how much money you would need. How much money do you have in the bank? Do you need payroll insurance because you couldn't keep your employees on? You've got to work with yourself and your agent on this and decide what type of coverage is right for you. And there's a lot of agents out there. Some go away, some come. It's a very competitive industry. And they all have their own brands. They'll have the ways they work. They have the price points. They have the coverage. They have the customer service. Everybody's different on how they need to experience a company. As business owners, you should know that most. So choose who you're working with. And don't become a victim to a relationship that isn't serving who you are. Now that you've been prepared, you're ready to go, let the natural disaster hit, and it does. Your job as leader now takes a very critical role for your family, your business, and your community. The more prepared you are, the more now you can help. If we've learned anything over the last few years, our communities need leaders. And I can't say enough about the type of impact that would play out on your business. So the first thing you want to prepare for is who is out there in your community. Every community is different in terms of who comes to support, the different organizations, what they do, what they represent. I've put a few in the workbook that I think every business owner should have: the SBA, FEMA, but there's others that we don't immediately think of that really do spring into action in certain communities. We're all in different areas. So all of our localized areas, our counties, our states, it's different for everybody. But I encourage you to start thumbing through my list here and adding your own if there's others that I am not aware of, that become a very pivotal force in supporting the community through natural disaster in the immediate first 24 hours, 48 hours, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay? That can help you, of course. It can help you help others. It can allow you to connect and help other people to connect to the needs that they have. But I'm big on writing stuff down. Clara knows this, and she's probably giggling at me now. Because sometimes there's no power. Sometimes there's no internet. We all have gotten very lazy with the internet. Even for y'all out there who are aware of it. I'm one that's aware of it, and I still realize I'm lazy with it. It is a critical resource in our world that has made us very efficient and effective humans, but also very reliant on it. You can't just Google sometimes. Sometimes the internet goes down. If you've never lived in an area where internet goes down, it's quite a trip. Now, we've gotten very comfortable with our resources around us. So write these down, okay? And understand what they do for your community. SBIA can provide lots of grants and funding. American Red Cross is a very critical first responder system, as we know, with medical aid for immediacy. FEMA, I always kind of put between the two. FEMA comes down in immediate, but they also help long-term. The SBA has delivered millions of loans and will continue to do so, and we definitely saw that this year in 2020 with the pandemic. Our government does support small business. We just got to find it. So now that you're prepared, you can lead your employees and you can help them. And that's again in the immediate and for the future. Now, in the short term, you really want to make sure if they're okay. You know, not to be overly dramatic, but do you have their information? Do you know how to contact them? As much as for being a humanitarian and seeing if they're alive, but also to see, do they have needs? Are they okay? Your employees look up to you every single day, whether you realize that or not. And for some of you out there, your community looks up to you. So this becomes your time. And you can't do this alone, so this is why you have to be prepared. So write down their information out of the internet. How do you contact them? Where's their information? I've heard horror stories of first responders asking people about other people, their bosses, their kids, their employees, and nobody really knows how to get a hold of people anymore. Where they're at, what they may need, what could have happened. Write it down in your workbook. Have it right there. To me, that's a critical piece of information as a business owner I want to have. Because if I want to recover, I better be showing up like a boss during that time when I'm supposed to be shining. That's a big visibility moment. I want to work with people and work for people who care. Look at employees like they're humans, in that way. And part of also helping your employees in the long term and yourself is having a recovery plan, which starts when you're starting to prepare for your insurance coverage needs. Your recovery plan would have to do with doing market research, financial forecasting, and people strategizing about what are alternative methods of operations, of offerings, and of services that might have to play out based on how a natural disaster hits your business. That's the best and most useful information you can create for yourself as well as your employees. Because people just don't want to sit around and wait, and they can't nowadays. It's not cliche to say most people are living paycheck to paycheck in this country and in this state of California. So having information and understanding and preparation is going to allow you to impact a lot more people than even yourself, with your employees and a community at large. And that's what we can do in a larger way to help recover a community from natural disaster. So I've downloaded a lot of information on you today. You guys have been very attentive. We appreciate it. So here's a list of some immediate items that you want to be prepared to do upon evaluating for immediate reopening, or dare I say what that opening date might look like based on what you discover. I'd like to open things up for questions, comments, any thoughts out there. But I hope today becomes a springboard for you to schedule some more time to start breaking down this workbook now and doing the work that you need to do. Because once you start this system, it's really easy to maintain. It just becomes another accountability that you need to do as a business owner. And if there's no other questions, I know Claire is going to be coming on to do a poll. It's necessary.
Hi, Rachel. Yes, I will be doing the poll now. I know I probably say this every time, but every time I hear this workshop, I remember things that I've forgotten. I remember things that I need to prepare, and I'm not a business owner, to prepare my family. So this is every single time I get something new and fabulous and informative. Sometimes a little scary, but mostly
It's a super scary topic, and I think that's what makes it the most challenging thing to get to get people to pay attention to it. I don't want to live and have fear, but at the same time, makes life easier on the other end.
Absolutely. Now, while folks are filling out the questions, I just want to remind everyone who is watching, either watching live or watching this as a recording, that you can become and find out more about becoming a client of the West Business Development Center and take advantage of our free business advising and our other workshops and webinars by either visiting our website or calling our office. This is a great and free service paid for by the federal government and various grants. So please do reach out if you're a small business owner or an entrepreneur trying to start a business or take something that may have been an idea or a hobby and turn it into your business. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd enjoyed this webinar and you're interested in seeing more of our upcoming live workshops, please take a look at our workshop schedule on the West Center website. I update it practically daily. This is a great place to look for any exciting upcoming webinars or programs that will be rolling out shortly. And you can also view past webinar recordings on our webinar archive page, which you will find under the workshop tab. Again, we regularly update that and keep an eye, make sure you're getting the freshest, best workshops we've got going. So I want to say thank you to everyone for coming and attending, and hope to see you at our next workshop. Thank you so much. Be well and take care. Bye.